Hello, I am Chris Hardy. I am the Associate Pastor at West Lawn United Methodist Church, and I want to thank you again for tuning in for our daily devotional. There was this little boy in Sunday school, and as he was being dismissed from Sunday school to go to church, the teacher asked, "Hey, little Johnny, and do you know why it is necessary to be quiet in church?" Little Johnny thought for a moment and said, "Because people are sleeping." They don't sleep during my sermons, of course. Um, but sleeping, yes, I feel like I would just like to go to sleep and take a long nap, and maybe all this COVID-19 will be over. But then again, I think about Rick in The Walking Dead in the first episode. He took a nap, woke up in a hospital, and it was the zombie apocalypse. So maybe napping right now for an extended period of time, not a good idea. Um, but on a more serious note, I went to the grocery store yesterday, and it was very much eerie. It was like an apocalypse. I like to read a lot of apocalyptic fiction. The movies interest me. Of course, I like The Walking Dead. Um, the produce section, the canned goods section, the soup, the ramen noodles, the Campbell soup, any sort of healthy meat besides like hot dogs and some sausage, some ham, and chicken with skin on. No milk. Eggs were limited. Of course, the paper towels, the toilet paper, napkins, tissues, completely bare. But all those sections, those food products that I just named, were gone. Um, I ended up coming home. I spent like $200 on some frozen food to get some canned goods. Vegetables were limited. The only thing I was left in was lima beans and French cut green beans. So I got about 8 cans of French cut green beans. So it was very strange to be in a grocery store where there wasn't food, and I just found myself wondering, what happens next? Are we scared of the COVID-19, or are we more scared of how people are responding and what that means for the rest of us? And really, for the first time since this all began, you had asked me 10 days ago, and I was going on as life as normal, and it's not a big deal, and yes, it's just another flu, it's a virus, and I really wasn't putting that much stock into it. Yeah, I was paying attention, but um, the last couple of days, the pendulum for me has swung definitely in the opposite direction. And those 30 minutes, 45 minutes in the grocery store really hit home and then changed perspective for me. And then later that night, the governor announces that he's shutting down 150 different kinds of businesses, mandatory. So it became really real for me. And maybe I'm naive. Maybe I was the ostrich with its head buried in the sand, which I heard they actually don't do. That was just a creation by the cartoonist. Um, but for whatever reason, it finally just ticked with me. Wow, this is kind of serious. And I became anxious, and I became more worried than I've been. Um, I don't want to say scared, but definitely anxious. And then I just thought about it, and I was praying, and I got that picture in my mind of Jesus calming the storm. I looked it up in the Bible. Of course, it's in a couple of the Gospels, but I turned to Matthew's version of Jesus calming the storm. But as you may recall, and as is in Rembrandt's famous painting that was stolen in the 90s, Jesus was sleeping during all this. Um, and when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. A windstorm arose on the sea, so great that the boat was being swamped by the waves. But he was asleep. And they went and woke him up, saying, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a dead calm. They were amazed, saying, "What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" I feel like I'm at least in that boat right now, and I'm sure you do as well. That we are in this boat with the raging sea. Uh, The waves are about to capsize us. The boat is flooding. And we are in need of some direction. We are in need of a Savior. And there's Jesus sleeping, right? Now, I don't think he was neglecting anyone. I just think he had it all under control. And I think that we ourselves can learn a lot from this. We can see ourselves, certainly in the disciples, but we can also follow Christ's lead. And that is to follow his lead, in fact, to put our faith and our trust in him, and to know that as crazy as times may seem, as much as the grocery store shelves are empty, Jesus Christ is still Lord and Savior, and he is still sitting on the throne. And I believe that, and I profess that, and I hope you do as well, knowing that regardless of how choppy the sea may get, that Christ will have us. He is with us. And even though it might seem like he's taking a nap amongst it all, he is right there on the boat with us. And he has the capability and the power to control the raging seas that are in life, and those raging seas that are in our own hearts and minds, that anxiety, right? He has that ability to calm us, to calm the seas. So as we learn day by day how to go about, and the news changes and more announcements and different restrictions, and it's my hope, my prayer for you, for all of us, for our country, for the world, we're all in this together, that Jesus has us, and that we put our faith and trust in him, knowing that he can calm the individual waters in our hearts, but also the big sea that is creation. And I say thanks to God, and I pray for you and your families, and may God be with you until we meet again.